Hey, Gabfocus. Tommy here at Storage Pug. Welcome to this year's finale. What a great 2024 we've had. Melissa, how are things in Chattanooga?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I'm even wearing my jolly shirt. I'm super
Yes.
excited. Things are great in Chattanooga and weather's even cooling off. So I'm happy about that.
I'm a fall or spring weather kind of guy. Don't love it too hot, don't love it too cold, but I would like it to be a little bit colder, right? Like yesterday in Knoxville was 70 degrees.
Yeah.
Would like to feel a little bit colder for make it feel like real Christmas.
Well, I need to be able to wear my sweaters and not die.
Yes,
So
yes,
yes, I have Christmas
exactly.
attire.
Exactly. Well, y'all, welcome to a fabulous episode of Gap Focus. We're going to talk about all the lessons learned in 2024, and to learn from the best of the best. I've got three really special people. Special because I've known these people for a long time in our industry, but special because these people know a lot about self-storage. So from my left to my right, Jane Sauls, welcome back to the Gap Focus stage. How are ya?
Wonderful. Thanks for having me. Merry Christmas.
I know you're no stranger to a lot of the folks in this room, but just in case someone has never met you, what do you do and how long have you been in self-storage?
I am with Sauls Storage Group. So we are investment brokers and we are general contractors. So I've been in the industry since about '06, coming it from the development from the ground up side, handled operations, kind of built from there, and then been in brokerage since I think 8 or 10 years ago. Actually, self-storage side of things on that focus, brokerage itself a long time before that. But and then now we own and operate and then do brokerage and just anything that is self-storage, we are here for it.
All right, so Jane, you live and breathe and eat self-storage.
Mhm.
Enough said. So, and then moving along, I've got Matthew Roberts. He's a guy I've known for ages. He's been to almost 30 Gap Focus episodes himself. Now first time being on the stage. Matthew, welcome, man. How are you?
I'm good, Tommy. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here. So the folks who may not know who you are yet, tell them who you are. What do you do? How long have you been in the storage business, and how many facilities do you own and operate?
Absolutely. So I've been in the storage business since 2019. I'm a second generation self-storage owner operator. My dad started the company in 2001, and I joined the family business in 2019. Spent a few years in the agricultural industry before that. Um, but we are owner operators and developers as well. And we currently have three facilities now.
I love that. So your family started in 2001. So y'all been through some cycles.
Absolutely.
I love that, man. Well, welcome to the stage. I'm really glad to have you here. Excited to hear what you've learned this year. You shared some great nuggets in lobby talk. I'm excited for you to share it here in the live show.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, my dear friend Alexis, welcome to the stage.
Hi, thank you. It's an honor to be on this. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, no. So when Garrett, Melissa, and I were looking at like who should we invite to the end of year party, we're like, let's pick on some people who've been to a lot of Gap Foci. And between the three of y'all, I think if you add it all up, y'all have been to over 50 episodes total, which is a lot of episodes.
That's a lot of hours of listening to us talk.
Yes. So Alexis, in case the audience may not know who you are yet, tell us where you're located, how long have you been in the storage business, and how many facilities do y'all operate?
Great. So we currently have 11 properties with Stop and Go Storage Management. Second generation as well. I'd like to say I've been in storage my whole life. My best memory my mother has is me playing the violin on the Mills of Dirt when my dad was building the facilities. So my dad started in '85, so he's been in the industry for a long time. We started in '06 when I was done with college, so 19 years um, going on to that. So been in it a long time, see the ups and downs and the day.
Love that. Well, glad to have you here and share some of these lessons you've learned this year. I imagine this year looks a little bit different than 2021 did, which probably looked a
Yes,
lot different than 2018 and probably looks a lot different than 1993. So
that is true.
glad to have all y'all's perspective. I think one thing that's awesome about this group, Melissa, is all three of our guests today own and operate and are part of all the phases, development, the entitlement, all of that stuff, and the management. So
Right.
I think it's really fun. So I've been peeping the chat here. 85 degrees in Gilbert, Arizona is crazy, man. I'm glad I'm not.
Everybody's comparing temperature. I love it.
I don't want to be in 20-degree in Anchorage, Alaska
Anchorage.
either.
Mm-mm.
But I would be okay with 37. If we were, I would be okay with 37 degrees.
Yeah. Somebody said they'd been covered in fog for like 2 weeks straight, and we had that for several days. It was nothing but fog. So yeah,
Yes, we
it's
did.
nuts.
Yep.
All
Well,
right.
y'all, welcome. If this is your first episode, welcome. This is our end of year party. We're going to talk about all the fun things and not fun things that has happened this year in 2024. Gapfocus is brought to you by our team here at Storage Pug and Melissa and Josh over at Lighthouse Storage Solutions. Here's the typical setup. We have about a go for an hour. Melissa and I will take turn asking awesome questions that the team's curated, and our guest speakers are going to answer all the questions. So today's agenda looks like this: all the lessons that we've learned from this year, and then what can we look forward to in 2025. We'll wrap it up with the question of the week. And of course, as we have this conversation, and it is a conversation, please submit your own questions in the Q&A tool. It's somewhere down below. Hit the Q&A button, ask your question there. Melissa and I will keep our eyes on that and ask them as they're appropriate. And then, as we do every year at the end of the year, we will have 3 lucky winners in the Wheel of Surprises. So we'll announce some winners and some surprises at the end of the episode. We've also got a Gapfocus wrap to share some fun stats over the years as well. So, speakers, Melissa, y'all ready to rock and roll?
Let's do this.
Let's do it. Kick us off, Melissa.
Matthew, first, I want you to repeat the thing that you quoted earlier. We were talking about what was our lobby question?
The lobby talk question. What were some of the lessons? What was your number one lesson that you've learned in 2024?
Yes, so we were talking about demand. And Matthew, what did you say? Because I think everyone needs to hear that.
Yes, the sky is not the limit, the demand is the limit.
Biggest lesson of 2024, y'all. And I think that sums it up, so we can just shut this down and I'll go home today. But I think that really does sum up a lot of what we're going to talk about with our lessons from 24, because Jane also mentioned that there was a lot of surprises that came for some owners, and they got their feelings hurt a little bit. But it's definitely been a challenging year. So let's talk about first what was the toughest business challenge that you guys faced in 2024. What did that look like for you? Y'all just jump in.
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, that was one big lesson for sure. But we also in 2023, and I think this is something that doesn't get talked about a lot. We exited out of a few properties, and although it was a great time to exit, wasn't the best time. It's hard to buy. It was hard to buy in that climate, and it still is hard to buy. It's hard to acquire existing facilities or make new investments right now. And so we've done the 1031 thing before. We've utilized opportunity zones, and those are our 2 main vessels for tax deferral. That's what we think about, because we're going to place that capital and invest it in a tax-free way. You can, of course, pay the tax if you want, but that's been what we do. And so when we exited out of those, we're beginning to plan what's the next thing after we exit those properties. Nothing was looking great. I mean, we were looking at deals hard, on and off market, doing the underwriting, reasonably conservative. And nothing's working out. Nothing's working out. And so one day I'm talking to a mortgage broker, and I'm just telling him, I'm just frustrated. This is one of those days I'm frustrated. And he mentions, hey, I've got a client that does this thing, and he's describing it to me. He's like, I don't know what it's called. He does this thing, and you need to check into it. And so I'm searching, I'm Googling, I'm talking to other people, and I come across what is called the Deferred Sales Trust. And you should really, and this is my disclaimer, I'm not a tax attorney. I'm not a deferred sales trust trustee or anything like that. I just participate. I have a deferred sales trust now, but to summarize it, you can you place that money, you place your capital gains into a trust, and that trust creates a promissory note back to you personally. Um, that money can sit there tax-free. You can invest it in securities, other developments, other real estate funds, all kinds of other things while it's sitting there. And you don't pay any tax on that until you touch the principal. And so we thoroughly vetted that and have been utilizing that since early this year, and has been a game changer for us anyway.
Cool. I mean, that's a great lesson from 2024.
I would say so.
Yeah.
Jane, same for you. What's been a tough business challenge that y'all have dealt with? Now, I guess you can speak at it from multiple angles, right? Development, brokerage, ownership, management, like pick any of those lanes and speak to it.
From the brokerage perspective, because Luke and I was kind of looking over this list, and we laughed because we were like, "Oh, we survived last year. This year's been a breeze, so to speak." So, from a brokerage perspective, much better outlook this past year. To Matthew's point, it's just been hard to get deals done, but you could get deals done, right? And so that was nice from the brokerage side of things. From the development side of things, I felt like up until just a few months ago, it really hardly, most properties I didn't even have to pick up my pencil to know that they wasn't going to work. Like, you would see more stuff not working between the interest rates, the cost of the dirt, plus the diesel fuel pricing and the development side from the grading side. Anyway, the numbers just didn't work often on the development deals. Operationally, I would say it wasn't rental activity and actual new move-ins that was my problem. It was all those folks who was time to move out, moved out. So net rental was my problem, if that makes sense. And on the move out, there's really nothing we can do about that's a part of our business model. And so it is important, in my opinion, that we get excited for our customers that are moving out, because something probably is going right in their life, whether they're getting in that house or whatever it is they're doing. And so I think it's important we keep the right perspective of, even though I didn't like the fact that my net rentals wasn't growing like I wanted them to, but my rentals were coming. I couldn't offset my move out, but I got to get happy for the people who are able to move out.
I love that.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a great perspective. I guess Alexis
that helps swallow that just a little bit easier if you can keep that perspective.
It does.
Yeah.
On that point, I talked to a group they have a facility in Texas, and in November, like last month, they had 64 move-outs. And November is not a strong move-in month, no matter where you are in the country. And so when you lose 10% of your units in 1 month, that was hard, right? So no matter what kind of marketing you have in place, you ain't going to replace 10% occupancy in 1 month. And so that was just tough. And, and I asked the owner, like, hey, what do you want to do? And he said, there's nothing to do. You just, you got to roll that punch. And let's just see how the spring.
Happy face on.
Yep. So, but Alexis, how about you? What was something, what was your toughest challenge of the year?
I mean, just like what Matthew said in the beginning, is that demand for storage. As we all know and we've all read, the demand is drastically different this year as it was in previous years. People aren't moving as much. Usually you'd see that high move-in rate in the summers, and actually our seasons were drastically different in 2024 compared to years before. Also, we have to kind of roll ourselves back and kind of dig in from, we were so on this high with, we had, waiting lists, and we couldn't, build or have enough units to give to people, a few years back. And now, people are moving out. So it's just kind of going back to, grassroots marketing, making sure we're going back and marketing the ways we used to.
Yeah. Alexis, your audio, I just saw a comment, your audio is cuts in and out a little bit.
Sorry.
No, you're good. So maybe the recommendation is like to get closer to the computer.
Yeah,
would be the only
I'll
guess.
scoot in closer.
Yeah. So thank you.
You'll see me real close.
That's what we want.
A couple of people are asking about what Matthew talked about earlier, and Matthew commented a few minutes ago. We will share the contact info with everybody, and that way Matthew can share more about that actual experience that he had, and for those of you that are curious about that.
Yep, perfect. Yeah. No, it's a cool, I mean, I'm sure many a person are excited about all kinds of money management stuff. So Matthew, thank you for sharing. And yeah, towards the end, we'll share contact info. And if anyone has specific questions for any of the guests, you can reach out to them more directly.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing your challenges. So talk about changes, right? Jane, we'll start with you here since you touched on, 2024 wasn't 2023. So what did you notice? Did you notice any big changes in our industry this year? And if so, how were you able to weave and ebb and flow to respond to these changes?
So industry-wide, the biggest change I see operationally, and it impacted what we're trying to do from a brokerage perspective and underwriting, is the street rate. The folks just, I'm going to say, slashing prices, giving it away. Just a whole, fortunately in my particular market, my competition was not doing that so aggressively, but industry-wide, it's hard to be able to underwrite a property and kind of figure out that economic occupancy when you can't truly gauge. So one of the things that, we're having to do is look at that income threshold and then kind of see what percentage of that is likely of their disposable income that they would be paying for that 10 by 10. Because if you are underwriting a property today, and especially a development project, based off of what appears to be a street rate at the moment, then you're not going to do a deal, period, right? You're just not. So I think that's been industry-wide. I think probably we got all the other things happening around us with the interest rate impacting the brokerage side of things. We got the 10-year treasury, it's gone back up, that not helping on the cap rate side of things. But just from a day in, day out, hitting everybody, I would say some markets are actually in those, I'm going to call them rate wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So Jane, you mentioned earlier about being excited about your tenants. And there was a question from an anonymous attendee that that I really liked in here. Do you do anything for those tenants to reach out and actually congratulate them or be excited for them to get their repeat business?
I'm ashamed to say that I don't, from the sense of individually. We do reach out with them in the sense of, well, I say I don't. I guess we really do, because as a result of that, we're also asking for the Google review, right? And so we get that on the front side and the back side as well. So we do in the sense, but we do have a little bit of a motive for it as well. We were looking for that review if they had a good.
I think using that for a good marketing, like there is some upside for the business to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to reframe this in my brain and say, I'm actually excited for this person about this move out. And I'm going to show that excitement and then turn that into, I can get a Google review. I can get some referral business because I'm going to show genuine care for their new life change of like, oh, your house is finished. That's awesome. And that goes a long way. And that's the last interaction that customer has with you. And then they're going to hopefully pay that forward to the next customer. So I just thought that was a good point that our anonymous attendee made.
A lot of calls telling us that they've moved out. They just, for some reason, since COVID, people love to talk to us. Whereas we were seamless and not talking to a lot of people, but since COVID, folks want to talk about it. And they just want to hear a voice for whatever reason. So we do always try to be like, oh my goodness, that's awesome then. Just be sure, to leave the unit like you found it and go over that kind of thing. But we do congratulate them in that sense.
Yeah,
Yep.
I would agree. I would add in with that, because if somebody's sharing that with you, don't just brush past it. Acknowledge it and share that excitement with them just a little bit. That it's a small thing, but it really does go a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. Congrats on the remodel finishing. Congrats on closing on your house. No, I love that. Mandy said we give out our business cards with a special move-in discount on the back side to tenants who move out. That's a great, easy thing to do. Love that, Mandy. Thanks for sharing. So Alexis, about you being second gen with since your family started in the 80s, like what sources do you use to keep up to date with changes in the market conditions? Are there certain tools, certain articles you read? Like where do you get your storage data?
Right here at Storage Pub.
I'll Venmo you your commission later.
You know what? I mean, there's so much out there. Going to the shows, talking to people. It's surprising how large of an industry this is, but how small of an industry it is as well. I saw Melissa speak before at one of the trade shows. Great show, lessons learned from her that I like to reiterate to some of our property managers over and over again. Reading articles, there's so much knowledge out there, and just taking the time to listen to storage posts. Just for instance, I'd like to share one of my property managers mentioned the last one you guys had. You mentioned marketing, going to funeral homes and getting business cards and so forth. She did that yesterday. Took our business cards. She goes, no one has ever come to us to give us free business cards. Thank you so much. We get people all the time asking for storage references. So you can learn just tips and tools from reading and listening to all these webinars and podcasts.
Yep. There's a great wealth of information being shared in this industry. So, and a lot of it's free.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Reading the magazines. I mean, there's so much you can do to get the knowledge that you need.
Yeah, magazines.
And it's changing. Our property manager just wrote in here, the rates are changing daily from a market that was one of our top rates in Ohio. The rates are now doing $9 to $15 for the monthly move-in, and you're just like, oh, why don't you too long? So it's crazy to see what the rates currently in the last few months are doing, and trying to figure out a way to compete with them being a smaller family-owned business. We don't have the millions of dollars they have for marketing, but we do have certain things that they can't. We are locally owned, operated properties, what our managers can give them compared to some of the larger REITs. Also, you're seeing a larger REITs moving away to not being at the properties. And you see 600-700 unit properties with no one there for days. So that helps. And going out and shopping your competitors, the new ones, what they're offering, and what value that can help when you're trying to sell your unit to a new customer.
I love that you said that. I mean, having a manager that actually sweeps out the units who knows that facility is a huge deal. Having the owner show up from time to time and sweep out a unit is a big deal. I see Jane Sauls out there hustling. And I think that's a huge deal. And speaking of resources, if you don't get this, I think it's a great resource. It's the SSA Legal Review. They publish this once a quarter or once every 2 months or so. Get on it. It's free. You can just sign up and then they mail you this. Tons of great legal stuff. For example, several negative New York bills were defeated. New Michigan minimum wage has been enacted. So, I mean, lots of good stuff that might impact our business, and it's free, And oh yeah, Corey said you can get the email too. So they have an emailed version if you aren't a snail mail person. So lots of great resources. So Alexa, I'm glad you called all of those out.
Yeah, and Scott and Carlos also have their new YouTube
Put a link
where
to
they
that.
each quarter, that they go on and they answer questions. It's a hoot. If y'all have ever done the Scott and Carlos at the end of the national trade shows, they do the live Q&A, and so it's got that kind of feel to it, and it's hysterical.
It's
I love
fun.
it.
Josh,
Yeah.
will you put a link to that? I did one quick search and I couldn't find it, but I bet you know exactly where to find it.
Yep, we'll make sure he does that.
Yeah, I don't want my YouTube to start making sounds.
So with all of this, guys, in 2024, we did hit some bumps. So what are the weaknesses that you identified at your business this year? If you had to just name one, what would a weakness be? Jane has one already.
Oh, yeah. Well, people are, to my point of people are loving to talk to folks. We added the call center, and XPS is answering those phones for us. I feel like around the clock, but not literally, but it's good ads. And that has been, I feel like, a game changer because, for one, it takes that off of us and the anxiousness of us thinking we're going to miss a call, right?
Right.
And it's not even necessarily for rental. It may just be that call to move out, but you have that connection and that touch point. And for whatever reason, our community has needed that. And so I think that that's one of the important things to learn and to pivot from is what is your market, truly needing and looking for, and then being able to deliver that in a way that that just keeps things moving forward. But that I feel like that was our big move. It may not seem like a big one from a cost or investment dollar wise, but the return on that has been substantial.
That's
Well,
awesome.
and call centers in general, I think, have really improved in our industry in the last, really since COVID. I think they've really taken the service up a notch or several notches. And so what you can get from a call center it's just a game changer. So I know Josh and I just did a podcast last week with Sherry, and we were talking about different call centers and what you can expect. So something you should look into if, like you said, Jane, if you're struggling with, how many phone calls am I missing? I just don't have the bandwidth anymore. A call center is a great option today.
It really is. I'll put a link to the XPS, which is one of the ones that are often mentioned. I'll put a link there in case anyone's not heard of them and want to check them out.
Yep.
I just
Matthew,
as far as calls, sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Alexis.
Well, as far as call centers, we actually decided we tried out a few, didn't really like the service. This was years ago. And we decided to roll out our own external call service, which we find is great because only 11 properties, they're not answering the phone, not knowing how to sell their property. Those are biggest over and over again. They would answer the phone and be like, could not pronounce it. We're like, this is, that it. So we decided to take it internally, and then our call center reps can actually tell you about property because they are so knowledgeable because they only have 11 properties. Plus, I do it often, so I know a lot of the properties like the back of my hand, so that helps. So you always look to that too, and it helps free up our managers to get out on the property instead of being like, oh my God, I'm going to miss that call. I'm going to miss this.
I love that.
Center can take that message, and also, being able to answer that call firsthand with that sales call, so they don't get a message and be like, "Oh, I'll just go to option 2, option 3 down the list."
Yeah.
Speak to a live person right away.
Yeah. No, I love that. But one of your cities, I feel for these call center agents though. Like one of your cities, I also don't know how to pronounce. Pata, I've asked you at least 3 times since I've known you. Pataskala, Patalaska.
Pascala.
So no, but yeah, but if you obviously have a team who lives in the area and knows this, I think there is at a certain scale, whether that's 5 or 11 facilities or 20 or whatever. I think at some point in time it does make sense to figure out how to do this, whether you partner with a third party vendor or do an in-house call center. I'm seeing that as having all your phones routed into a centralized place, I think makes a lot of sense. I think that's a really smart thing to do. So talk to us about customer trends. I saw this question in the Q&A, and I love this question. I forget, let me see who asked it so I can give them their credit. Catherine. Yeah, so what are customer trends that have shaped? And this is actually one of the questions that we had curated before the show. Talked about customer trends, right? I think y'all have talked about industry trends, right? The move outs happening, interest rates, the demand slipping, all of these things. But what have you seen from the consumer side? What are customer trends that you noticed that impacted your markets?
Well, I'll say for me, um, we've been fortunate for our market we haven't really experienced a terrible slowdown. There was a period of time back during the early summer, things slowed down, and I mean, it gets you worried a little bit anytime things slow down a little bit. But the um, the customers, we went from, say 2019 up until 22, where a lot of the transactions are moves, like move from primary residence to primary residence. And you get that in conversation. But now there's a shocking amount that I see of people they're combining households,
Mm.
or they're selling a home and they're renting now. Shocking amount of people that do that, and also our business to business transactions, like our business clientele that will rent a storage unit for warehousing or whatever they need it for, has picked up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. I refer to Matthew's point, because the conversation of how storage as an asset class does so well in every type of cycle. So like we've been serving that happy customer, right? They just sold their house for more than they ever thought possible. Now they have not had the thought process about how they're going to replace their house at all. Not these happy people. They're just ecstatic, right? Because they've sold that house for more than it was worth. And now, to Matthew's point, we're getting that. We're on the brink, I feel like, of the not so happy customer, right? Like they're being forced financially to make some decisions, and so but we're a cement slab with a roll up door. We do nothing to accommodate in either one of those customers, right? We may just tweak our rate. But I'm seeing the same thing as Matthew, but it's not to the extent that the downturn of that whole 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, did. We got distressed customers at that point. I feel like we still do have some blended customer base in there, just as far as not completely all not happy customers, but we're definitely trending that way. And I guess the other part of the customer base that I would say is, and for every perspective, I think we've had a year of wait and see, right? I mean, let's wait and see who wins the election. Let's wait and see. And so I'm like here to see.
You're ready to see what we've been waiting on.
Yeah, I know. We're the wait part. We're over.
Yes, I am like, let's get on with it. Whatever it is we're gonna do, let's be doing it and be about it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully now that this last election cycle is past us, we can actually start to see some of what I feel like we've all been waiting on, like because we haven't known really what we've been waiting on either. because I feel like that's always the case in an election year is you don't really know because depending on what side it's like, well, it could go this way, could go this way. And now that we at least have a direction, at least we have a direction. So like, let's go.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah,
So I think it's going to trickle down from the customer trends as well. I think they've been in that, whether it may be on a job decision or anything
right.
else, but that impacts what we do. So I think the whole wait and see, Lord, we hope is over and we're just going to get to see.
Yes, hopefully. Okay, so Tommy, there's a lot of good questions in here. Do we
Let's
want to hit
let's
some of these?
I love that. Let's tackle some questions. And some of
Oh,
these, yeah, apply to what we just asked about. So
yeah,
yeah.
they do. I want to kind of back up and get Jennifer's real quick. It just came in because we were talking about the being happy
Ooh,
for the tenant that moves out because they had like a new
yeah.
home, a new job, a new, whatever. How do you respond or react when someone moves out because of a rental increase? Any words of wisdom? That's a tough one to deal with.
You know,
I,
sometimes, I'm sorry.
no, I'm sorry. I don't mean to jump in there, but I'll say I went through quite a bit of that. I did acquire a facility that it was one of those that it needs a lot of love. It's still living 20 years ago. It needed a lot of love from infrastructure on up to rental rate management and delinquency. So yes, I mean we took that facility from they're renting units, or they were renting units for less than half of what the market rate is. And a lot of those tenants have been there a very long time, very long time.
Yeah.
And as not shockingly, some people are going to get upset about that, and rightfully so. I don't like my prices of anything going up, right? And just have to handle it with patience. But also, I found a lot of success with, look, I know that you don't want your cost to increase here, but I do. We've done all of these improvements. We have these amenities. We now have an on-site office in which you can visit. Just point out the things that they're getting for the value, like for the rental rate increase. I mean, they're getting something, whether it's something as extensive as like I'm talking about, where you're completely renovating a facility, or it could just be something as small as customer service. I mean, it means a lot too. But also point out it is important to point out to the customer, I feel like, is, well, check the competitors. I mean, check their rates. I promise you, we're in line with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of it goes back to education of the tenant because they do just see their rate increases and they automatically think, oh, I can just move somewhere else. I love that you point out what you've been doing to earn that rate increase. I think sometimes owners get a little lazy and they forget to continue to earn the business and keep the business.
Yep.
And just like you're constantly striving to maintain that 5-star rating, you have to continue to earn that every step of the way. And being able to point out good things that you've done over the year is great. So Jane, how do you handle that?
Definitely have a it depends answer. So
Mhm.
I may play but we've done this, and this, and I hate raising your rent, but let me tell you about my property tax. Let me share
Right.
with you what my has done. Like I don't mind going there, so to speak.
Mhm.
Like let me help you understand, but also know that the rate increases we are doing are reasonable, and they're not like some of the other guys in the industry who is like doubling and adding 5. So I'm not talking about those situations. So it may be that we just have a heart to heart of, you know what, I hate doing them too, but like I have to continue to be here and provide that product to you. And then
Right.
the opposite side of that, the very extreme, is, I mean, if I hit you with a $5 minimum, really low kind of number for a rent increase, and that's rocking your day, then and our folks do this, not just me, but all our folks do this as well. Let's talk about what you have in that unit and what else you have going on in life. Because this probably isn't the best business model perspective, but I take the stewardship side of life much more serious than my business model. So I'm going to have that conversation of like, why are you here?
Do you
like,
need this? Yeah.
do you need this? What is in that unit? What you need to be selling that stuff in that unit and using that evidently to pay some bills or whatever it is that's got you strapped. Or like, let's get you downsized. Like, if I have just rocked your world, you need some stewardship conversation going on, and we need to talk about your budget and what you're doing with the rest of your money.
Wow.
This reminds me of Miracle on 34th Street, where Santa Claus is referring people to Gimbals down the street if Macy's doesn't have it. And it's actually showing, I care about you and I want to help you fix your problem. And I think, Jane, that's exactly what you're doing, is saying, I care about you as a person. I still have to make business decisions. There's no changing that. I still am going to have this rate increase, but let's talk about you, the person, and maybe what you need to do. Yeah, I love that approach. Fantastic.
And I have said, you know what, I'm going to keep you at this rate for 3 months. And so, and then after those 3 months, you're going to have to go to the increased rate. Like and our managers have that leeway, because I think you empower the manager to be sure that they're helping other people as well. Then
cool.
they take their job very seriously as well. So I don't think it's a cookie cutter.
No.
Right.
Alexis, how do you deal with that across 11 locations with different managers of all different walks of life? What's your go-to or policy when it comes to this?
There, like Jane was saying, there's good and bad to all of this. You can always recommend transferring, actually going, like she said, into the unit and seeing what they actually have. They have a 10 by 30 and they only have a few things. Let's go. And then there is a cost to moving out too. Just like moving in, it's going to cost you a lot more to move your items out than the $5 increase. We've also done a lot of upgrades to our properties this year, so that's helped our property managers be able to justify the rent increase. I'm really sorry. I think it's my internet. Why people can't hear me. I apologize. But yeah, that's what I would say. But we do also have units that sometimes we're like, if you need to go, you need to go. We can re-rent that for $200 more now as to. So I guess the time is come. You've been here a long time. We appreciate you as a customer, but we have to look at it as a business as well. We do have increasing property taxes, electric bills, gas, and so forth. We do have to, get people up to street rate.
Yeah.
Catherine made a comment earlier. She's upfront from the get-go, and I think that's also important. And that also feeds into making sure you're consistently doing those rate increases. That way they don't surprise your tenants if you're like, it's been 24 months since we did a rate increase. Yes, you're going to get pushback from that because they're not used to it. But if you make it a part of every single, whatever your spacing is, if it's 9 months, if it's 12 months, whatever, as long as it's consistent, that's going to train them to just expect it. And it's not going to be a surprise. And that'll go over much easier too.
Yeah.
I think you find that if you wait too long and they get used to it, it's almost worse than doing it every year.
Yep.
Then,
exactly.
Like you said, they do get used to it. And then they say, well, I haven't gotten it for 3 or 4 years or so forth. But if you have that, it's an every year thing, then it's a little easier.
Yeah.
Because this year has created a whole different set of worms, because normally we're pushing those rates and we could say, oh, but a new customer is paying, and it's been more because we were pushing that top side. And so now, like, we've eased back on some of those rates. And so that may not be the conversation that you're able to kind of justify. So we did push ours from every 9 months to every 12.
Right. And I think Katie, she made a good point too. Like, we don't normally do rate increases in November and December because that's just not going to be received well. So don't set yourself up for that kind of disastrous results, like push it to January. It's
Yeah.
okay. You'll still get the turnover that you need before spring hits, and those rates will still, you know, come in at a good time. So yeah, be mindful of those things.
Yeah.
But you can still do them and be mindful of all the things that are going on in your area and with the economy and everything else. So
Yeah. Jane, related to the comment you made about like maybe your street rates are lower than what a tenant might be paying now, right? So maybe they go to your website and like, oh, wait a minute, I can rent this unit today for $80 less than I'm currently paying. Help us quantify how often is that actually happening, or is that more of like a edge case scenario, right? Because I've had operators talk to our team and they're like, hey, we think this is happening, but like how often does that happen at Little Vine, for example? You know, if you can help quantify that.
As good as none. I mean, like I do not have that happening often. What happens is your manager gets, I'm going to call it antsy in the sense that it might happen. That's where the anxiety is more so, is that it may happen. And so, and it, you know, you want your people happy and you want to be just as comfortable putting them in a position and asking them to do what you would be just as comfortable doing as well.
Love
And
that.
so I haven't had that happen enough times to remember, but the threat of it or the idea of it is what hangs over the head. And no doubt it has happened. No,
Sure.
don't get me wrong, it's happened. But just like is that an ongoing problem that we have? Absolutely not. But is it going to be something that the manager shrinks up when she knows she's sending that out? That's going to be more? Absolutely.
Yeah. Matthew, how about you? Is this a situation that you've dealt with a lot or at all, or what sort of frequency?
One time, I can think of one example where a tenant was at a higher rate than our street rate at the time, and they mentioned something about it. Um, the only and you know after that did happen, I made sure that our web page was organized in a way where the customers that are going there for business, where they would see that sort of information, that they're bypassing the rates page in a way, like they're going to the payment portal or the about us or the contact information, and it's not all in the same.
so it's not in their face.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Little distraction. I like it, Matthew.
Yep.
Little.
I like it. I had an owner tell, I've heard this somewhere. I don't remember if it was at a speaking thing or what, but the guy said, look, if your customer's willing to move all their crap out and then move it into a different unit to save, like, let them do it. One, they're not going to, but on the off chance that the one guy does do it, kudos to him.
Yeah.
Just
I
let
love
him
that
do it.
take. That'd be my take. Yeah, take it.
You're still doing something right because you still got the tenant. They're still going to get a rate increase the next time you do a rate increase. So okay, we're just going to start this cycle all over again. Does it really hurt anything? It would be different if every single month you're having 5 or 6 tenants do this. Then maybe you need to step back and say, okay, maybe I need to adjust something. But if you have one random person do it during the course of the year, okay.
Let it happen. I love that.
Yeah.
No, this is good. So pugs who are listening to this call, our team, we'll chop this piece up because I think there is that anxiety, Jane, that you talked about, right? I think it is stemming from the and again, I feel for the frontline store managers who they're anticipating these things, but maybe it's not happening at the frequency that they're giving it credence to. So that's brilliant. Melissa, we still got a ton of good questions. Should we just keep asking questions?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Technology question. So maybe we can talk about 2024 technology and maybe what you're excited about in 2025. So Catherine asked, how has technology influenced your operational efficiency this year? And then I'll add to it, what do you anticipate adding in 2025 to help with customer experience and operational efficiency? Great question, Catherine.
If you don't mind, I'll kind of
go for it.
We've done. We've moved every single one of our properties to the web-based gate system, which I'm so excited. Yesterday was our last one. Makes it so much easier. So if it's on the holidays, if it doesn't work, I can come in here on Thanksgiving, open a gate instead of having to run down there.
Golly.
we've transitioned all of our properties into the Vinci lock systems too. So we can give our managers some more time off. You know, we've been taking more time off for the holidays than we have, you know, the 19 years that I've worked here. Having that ability that if somebody needs that unit unlocked on Christmas Day because they forgot a present in there, they're gonna get that text message and the email if they pay and be able to unlock it. So that is huge for us.
Those are huge upgrades. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
On the overlock thing, so we had Aaron Harwell on over the summer, and he spoke on security, and he said that he was always bad about overlocking because he said it just caused more work for his managers, so he just went without overlocks.
Yes,
He was being
yes.
honest with us, and I love it.
But I think a lot of operators do that, especially around the holidays or on weekends.
Yes.
They're like, I don't want to be bothered on Saturday. I'm going to wait till Monday, maybe Tuesday, to overlock this unit so I don't have to worry about it.
Yep.
And that's sad. So yeah, this technology is fantastic when
That's
we're
awesome.
able to implement that.
Yeah, Alexis, that's great.
Mhm.
Anyone else have
Fantastic.
a technology improvement from this year and what they're looking forward to next year?
Like I cannot harp on the whole seamless part of a transaction enough. And from the technology perspective, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of new, like I don't think we're going to have some robots moving our stuff in storage or anything crazy. I don't really think anytime soon. And I don't think that our technology is going to do anything spectacular, but I would really love to see it be implemented correctly. And I've been very disappointed in the sense that we just took over a facility, and on one of the access controls and the software are of the same program. Like you're in the same, you don't go anywhere else, and they don't actually communicate but one way. And so that customer can't, at their convenience, change their access code. You actually have to do it in the system, in the backside. And Tommy, you know from working with me that is a pet peeve of mine. And so and then the software company says, yeah, we're aware of that problem. And so I'm not really looking for anything great. I'm just looking for the little things to work.
Ooh.
That's what I'm looking for. I don't know. And I still feel like sometimes we have little ghosts and gremlins that gets in our system that just a good restart fixes. And I'm okay with that. But when the powers that be that had thought it was a great idea to conglomerate the companies and bring them all together under one umbrella and one company, and then they know the problem exists, that's my technology rant.
No, I keep preaching, sister. No, I think the software not talking to the gate access when they're both owned by one entity is a no shade to anyone, but that's a wild thing that we discovered with you through this process. I was surprised that it worked that way.
I know. I had several to say, no, I'm like, that ain't a pug. That ain't a pug problem. I'm telling you that it's not a pug problem.
I had to get involved. I had not that I'm too good to get involved, but I actually had to call people. I was like, yo, explain to me what's going on. And that's yeah, so that's what it was. So
and thank you. But that is my technology Christmas wish, is that stuff just actually work. And from a owner operator out there, I would strongly encourage you, when whatever you're looking to implement, be sure you're talking to someone else in the industry that has implemented the same software, website, and access control system. If you are not talking to the one person who's already currently using that combination of things, you're really wasting your time.
Wow. There you go, sister.
Yep.
Matthew, might as well round us out, man. What's your technology discovery or excitement for next year?
No, that's I should probably know a little bit more about what may be maturing in the self-storage industry as far as technology goes. But I would agree with Jane, like the maturing of the technology and having it become more seamless. Yes. And I would also add on to what Alexis was saying with Da Vinci locks. Lord have mercy. If you have the ability to do something as simple as that, please do it for yourself.
Yes.
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. We only adopted the Da Vinci lock thing in the last 4 years, and every unit has a Da Vinci lock. When we rent out a unit, there's a Da Vinci lock on it. To add that level of security, convenience, and also make sure that your tenant's using a secure lock, and not the $5 hardware store version. Um, yeah, so I would add to that.
Yeah, great advice. All right,
Love it.
Melissa, what's our last question of the year going to be? Do we
Oh my
do a submitted
gosh.
one or do a
Let's
pre-curated
see.
one? There's so many good questions still. Um,
Uh, oh my goodness.
Like
I know I'm scrolling through as well.
I know. I'm just reading through these Q&As. We have problems getting a hold of tech when the technology has issues.
Ooh. Oh no.
Any advice? Keep calling, Yolanda. Keep calling.
Sorry, girl.
But just to bail, I do have one comment about the technology. I think now that the industry has we've been exposed to new technology outside of our industry that has come into our industry, thankfully, and has brought new options and innovations to us because we're really slow. And now that more owners are being exposed to that, we're kind of taking a look at the current group that's been here for the last 20 years, and we're like, now wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
They can do this. Why can't you do this? And we're not as content to just say, well, the software can't do it, because we see the software can do it through the other products that are coming up. So I think that is helping us kind of hold more people accountable to what services they're providing. So I would encourage everybody, keep pushing that information back to them of like, this is what we expect, and keep pushing those expectations back to your software providers. So that's just my soapbox too. So let's see. Do we want to do a 2025 question?
Let's do a 2025 question. So we'll do a 2025 question. We'll do question of the week, and then we'll go into our prizes for the year. Let's do it.
So I want to know it's December, and I know it's slow, but what are you guys doing to prepare for next year? Whether it's maintenance, it's marketing, it's rate, what is it? What are you doing
Love this question.
to prepare
Yeah.
for 2025? Go
Well,
for it, Jane.
for us,
Whoever.
sorry. Well, we are on the eve of opening a new facility, and taking a good look at our, investing in our human capital, making sure we have good personnel to staff the facility, and also just making sure, piggybacking onto that, just making sure that we're continually helping our other existing staff, invest in them by making sure that they are participating in professional development, and make sure they have the resources to be the best that they can be in the job.
I like it. Investing in the people. Okay.
Okay, so 2025, I think, is going to be a pretty big year of growth for us in a couple of different directions. And so in case you didn't hear the lobby talk, I have 2 grandbabies on the way. Just, proud grandmama here. So I have 2 grandbabies on the way. But what we're doing from an operational or business side of things is getting ready to build another facility. And so we've got that growth going on. And from the brokerage side of things, we're adding to our team agent-wise. So if you're listening to this and you're interested in commercial real estate from a brokerage perspective, you will see my contact information and you need to reach out to me. But yeah, so we're really growing intentionally in 2025. So I would say what I'm doing at the moment to get ready for that is really getting my mind right on how I am going to savor every minute and every moment, and that it not wind up December 2025 in a blur. Because like time is like moving at a greater speed than ever. And I want to soak up every minute. So 2025's got lots of good things coming for us. And I want to make sure that I'm soaking it all in.
That's awesome.
I really love that. That's awesome. Alexis, same question to you.
There's a lot to prepare for. But again, the last few months we have been doing a lot of just different things to our facilities, painting, new cameras, new face systems, and so forth. And there's so many things on the operations side that we can also go to. Looking at sales calls, listening to the manager's sales calls. As the owner and operator, how can they turn those sales calls into sales? Since we are seeing that decrease in demand, creating that urgency on the phone to come into your property so that you can showcase how you're better than the competitor down the street, taking them out on the property, showing what we have done to the property, and that gives it value, that makes it different from the REIT next door. So, looking into that, and I'm hoping for a good 2025. Hopefully interest rates drop, so people are starting to move a little more than they have this year.
And a lot of people hopeful to get their first homes in 2025. I know
Yes.
several friends and people who work at StorageBug who've been kind of on the sideline because of the fear of interest rates. So we'll see how it goes. Well, y'all, thank you for all of your time. I've got question of the week for you. What's the best thing about being in the storage industry? What's your favorite thing about self-storage? Jane, I'm gonna start with you.
I think the default answer, because as I was looking at these and thinking about it last night, has always been the people, right? And so our industry has so many great people. So I was like, that's not going to be my answer tomorrow. I'm going to have something different. I got to go deeper than that. Seriously, I think the best part is that I have a front row seat of seeing people get after the American dream. And I don't think we should be fooled that it's not a lost and dying thing. I think that it's still real, and we get to see it from an operational perspective. Y'all just said 2025, folks are going to be owning their own home. So we are actually in the industry where we see homeowners happen from an American dream perspective. And then we are amongst folks who have worked their tails off to get to where they are. And, definitely you might have started out in the ditch, putting conduit together or sweeping hallways or whatever the situation is. And maybe now you're running or owning several facilities. But to me, the American dream just truly lives on within the storage industry.
I really love that. That's awesome. Matthew, how about you? What's your favorite thing? I mean, your family started in 2001. You've been in it yourself since 2019. Why are you still in it?
Well, I would have to, I hate to go there, but the people, I'm a big people person, and being an owner operator, I get to meet a range of personalities, some good, some bad. And it's, on a day, a random Thursday, you never know who you're going to meet. That a couple months ago, um, a well, it was more than a couple months ago. We had a movie production company come to town, and they made a movie in Tifton, and I got to meet some actors that participated in that you would know out in the movie world. Don't normally get starstruck or anything like that. It's just cool. And so to further development connections into where I live and community, I spent many years traveling for work, and I would develop connections with people that I don't see anymore. But to be able to develop those connections with people in my own community, I love it.
That's so special, man. I love that. Alexis, last but not least, what's your favorite thing about this industry?
Just loving my job and enjoying it. No, I really do love the industry from doing everything from creating a unit mix to building a facility. I mean, I've been on construction site from ground up, picking the property, driving by it, to being on the operations side. I've sat at desks for a year and done that role as a property manager too. So seeing all those aspects, it's a different challenge every day. You can go from like going to a property, doing a walkthrough, cleaning the toilets, to helping mop the floors. So it's definitely something different every single day. And a challenge from customers, employees. It is great. And to be able to go to these conferences and meet people in the industry that have so much knowledge, talking to people that have 12, 13 countries, see what they use, see what they don't like, is definitely very helpful. And growing, like you said, as
I love that. That's awesome. Well, Melissa, I might as well ask you, what's your
Well,
you can't say people.
well, I know, right? So I feel like mine is very close to Jane's. It is people, but it's not in the same sense of, I mean, I love hugging all the necks. Y'all know that if you see me out, like, I don't even care if I know you or not, you're going to get a hug. I'm excited about it. But getting to work with, in my job, I get to work with owner operators that are, like Jane said, I want my business to grow. And sometimes
Yeah.
it's so I can leave it to my kids. Sometimes it's for my grandkids. Or it's brand new. And maybe this is going to be my retirement thing or whatever. I love being able to work with people in those, like, this property becomes their baby and they want to do everything they can to have it prosper and to get to walk alongside people in that journey. I love that. So it's still wrapped up in the people, but I feel like everything is wrapped up in people. And I don't think you can ever separate anything from that. It's all about people and the connection and the relationship. So I love the different opportunity that I have to work with other kinds of people. So it's neat.
I
So
love
what
it.
about you, Tommy?
I think the ability for someone to go do something that could be like the biggest thing they've ever done is really special.
Yeah.
Like a lot of folks we talk to, I mean, the three speakers on this room, right? I think like building a storage business is like the biggest thing they've ever done up until that point, probably.
Yeah.
And that's really cool that we get to like help people in this time, like from Storage Pug's vantage point anyway. Like we get to help operators, owners, and first time operators who this is the biggest thing they've done. They probably bought a house for a couple $100,000, but this is a multi-million-dollar venture that they started. And we get to like be like, I think like be a spectator, kind of what Jane said. That's
Yeah.
really cool. And then, I think a lot of what, we consider ourselves B2B, right? Like we work directly with other businesses, but with the nature of our software, we're kind of like a B2B to C. We don't talk to the consumers, but our software is touched more by consumers than people like Alexis, Matthew, or Jane, right? Like their tenants don't pay StoragePug, but they use the software. So I think like that's pretty fun too. It's like we get to actually build software that touches a lot of different people in a lot of different ways, and especially in their time of need. And so we don't take that lightly, and I think that's a big reason why I enjoy being part of this industry. So like you said, Melissa, it is still wrapped around people. So
Yeah. Everything is though.
everything
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So experts, thank you for being a big part of our 2024 lessons learned episode. So let me ask this question, last question for my speakers today. How do people get a hold of you if you want them to get a hold of you? Jane, I'll start with you. How do people find you?
You can find me on social media just to track from what's going on. So I am on Facebook and LinkedIn. And then my cell number is 770-328-2379. And my email address is jane@saulsstoragegroup.com. So when you do Sauls Storage Group, there are two S's there in the middle bumped up together, so don't leave one off.
Oh, let's find that beautiful grandbaby here. Let's see. Surely there's a beautiful grandbaby. I'm gonna keep
He's gonna
scrolling.
be in there.
He's got to be in here. Here
Oh.
we go.
Oh.
No, that's
That's not him.
no.
That's a throwback. Oh, I didn't
Uh-oh,
even. Oh,
Jane.
Becky's all over my stories all the
I
time.
know. I know. You need
That's
to.
what it is. They're in your stories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just
Yeah.
surrounded by beautiful people.
Stories.
And I love it. So that's awesome. Yeah, Tommy hitting the Facebook. Yep. Matthew, how about you, sir? How do people get a hold of you? I know people are going to want to know more about the kind of like the money management there that you mentioned at the top of the meeting or the call. How do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, of course, you can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, got those profiles, but I'm more than happy to share my cell phone. It's 478-251-7122. And my email address, my personal email is mjrober, Rober 19 @gmail.com.
Awesome, dude. Giving out your cell phone and your personal Gmail.
Yep.
I love it. Thank you. And then last but not least, Alexis, you're gonna give out your cell phone too. You don't have to. Don't feel any pressure to do so.
Well, to be honest, the best way to get a hold of me is by email
Okay.
instead of phone. Alexis at stopandgostorage.com is STOPNGO storage.com.
Okay. That makes it super easy. Y'all, thank you so much for your time today. What a great way to end the year. So, got a couple cool stats I want to share, and then we'll pick some winners for this year's prize. We actually have 3 prizes, but look at this. So, we've done 67 episodes along with 2 pop-up sessions. That's a lot of heys. We've had 17 guest experts come join us this year. Our most popular session of the year was Carol Mixon. Top 5 sales skills for managers. That was an incredible episode. The marketing episode was pretty huge too. And of course, the 2024 storage legal update was the legal update is always a huge show. But we've had 4 out of this will be our 12th show, but in 11 episodes, we've done 14 hours. I know they're supposed to be 1 hour long. If you do the math, those are a little bit more than an hour long there. And over 800 people attended at least one session this year. And then as far as award winners, so Mr. Chuggles leading the pack. And if this is pre-today, so now I saw Mr. Chuggles in the audience. I saw Andrew, so you can add 1 to a lot of these. Y'all, thank you. I mean, this is really really heartwarming for me and Melissa to get to come out, hang out with good friends, and bring on experts who share really smart things. This is just really special. So thank you for being a part of it for us. So let's give out some prizes. So we have our Wheel of Surprises. There's a couple rules. Rule number 1, you have to be here. So if you've already left and you're watching this later, I'm sorry you missed out. So you have to be here. When we call your name, just put in the comment section. So raise your hand that you're here. And then Garrett will follow up with you. So we're giving out $3 $100 Amazon gift cards. So we'll just do it via virtual. So you'll get a little email with your thing. And then the last but not least is no Pug Pack or no Pug employees or no Lighthouse Storage Solutions employees. If you win the prize, you can get something else later. We'll just have to give a 4th gift card out. So, all right, everyone ready? So I'm going to hit the click to spin. Here we go. And the winner is Lee Reynolds. Is Lee still in the audience? I don't see Lee in the audience. Sorry, Lee. We're going to have to move on. I'm going to remove you. Savage. Sorry, Lee. Shelly Reese. Is Shelly in the house? Yeah, I see her. I see her in the audience. Shelly, you're winner number 1. So Garrett, give it. So now the trick is just stay in the Zoom, and that way you're in. So Shelly, congratulations. So we have 2 more to give out here. So Garrett, if you make a note, it was Shelly Reese, number 1. And Ryan Rapolis. Is Ryan in the audience? No, sorry, Ryan. We're gonna remove you. Oh, here, yes, I am. Sorry, Ryan. So Ryan is.
That's funny. I don't see his name on
I
the
know.
attendee.
Like, so yeah. So Ryan is the second winner. Artie says, "Poor guy." And then last winner is Lindsay Barrett. Is Lindsay
Yeah.
in the audience?
Looks like
Catherine
it.
says, "You snooze, you lose." Ron, I don't see you in the. I don't see you at all in the thing. Let's see. Is Lindsay still in the room? Nope. All right, Lindsay, I'm gonna remove you. Speak now. All right, so you're gone. Sorry, Lindsay. Love you. Oh, Lindsay is also here.
Okay, so we got our 3 winners.
We got our 3 winners. All right. So sorry. So Lindsay, so Garrett, that was Shelly Reese, Ryan Rapolis, and what was it? Lindsay. Yeah, Lindsay. Amy says you forgot to call my name. I love it. Honestly, let's give out some pug socks. Garrett, are you cool with that? If we give out some pug socks? Josh Pritchett, if you're in the room, you get some pug socks.
Sue said socks for everyone.
Garrett did not sign up to mail 150 pairs of socks.
No. Oh, goodness.
Let's see here. So we got Scott, maybe? Shane Poppet. Shane, are you in the house? No. All right, one more person, and then we're going to wrap up. So I saw a comment from Yolanda about the next year's schedule. We're going to announce that in the next couple weeks. We're finalizing it. So Kate Mahaney. Kate, are you in the house? No. You know what? I'm going to give this, I can make the rules. I'm going to give this to Amy Hudson because she's been waiting for it. So, Garrett, let's hook up our girl, Amy Hudson. Let's hook up Josh Pritchett with some pug socks. And Julie Mercer because she said, please pick me.
Please pick me.
So let's and Mo Brown. So 4 people. Yep, and the other Marine. So 5 people. Sorry, Garrett, I'm signing you up for. But anyway, so this show, I saw someone ask earlier as well. This episode, along with all past episodes, available on the Gabfocus Self-Storage podcast, hosted by Josh and Melissa, wherever you listen to those. Also available on storagebug.com/resources, our YouTube channel, and you can join our Facebook group to talk to your fellow Gabfocus friends. Our very next episode has been booked. John Chang is coming back. The 2025 State of the Industry. He's going to come at it from a economics background. They do a ton of data analysis over at Marcus and Millichap. So excited to have John come out. And plus, he's just a great dude and a great speaker.
Oh, he's awesome.
Just an incredible guy. So be on the lookout for that. So that episode's already been booked January 23rd. And then the rest of the 2025 schedule will be announced here in the next couple of weeks once we get a chance to finalize the speakers. So, y'all, thank you. Congratulations to the winners. Melissa, this has been a fun year.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yes, it has.
Can't believe we've done 60, almost 70 of these.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, and we're at like 200, I think, on the podcast, if I'm not mistaken. Josh can correct me.
Yeah.
I just pulled that number out. He said there's been 7,400 downloads of the podcast this year.
There we go. That's awesome. That's huge.
Yeah. And back when we first started it, we were like, oh, we had 10 people download it. Yay.
You got to celebrate the small wins.
Yes. Yes. So it's awesome.
So, well, y'all, thank you. Jane, Matthew, Alexis, thanks for joining us today. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy New Year. And we'll see y'all in 2025.